In today's video, we are going to build a website where you can drag and drop an image of a potato plant leaf, and the website will tell you whether the plant has a disease or not. Now, behind the scene, it is calling the Fast API backend, which we wrote in our last video. And the purpose of building this website is to use it as a local test pad, because our eventual goal is to build this beautiful mobile app which farmers can use, right? That app we will build in the future videos, but in today's video, let's build a website using React.js, which is a hot technology for building websites right now. You can use Angular, plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. There are so many web frameworks available out there, but React.js is very popular right now, so that's why I'm using it. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this series is all about deep learning. I'm not teaching you web technology, so if you don't have fundamentals clear about web, such as what is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you need to clear them. And there is a very nice Khan Academy course which I'm going to put a link in a video description below. If you have seen that, then you will have your fundamentals covered, and then you need to watch some videos on React.js in YouTube so that you get some understanding. In this video, I will not go into detail. I will just keep it very upper level, so if you feel like, oh, I'm not understanding it, that's because you need to have those fundamentals clear. If I start going into detail, this video will become maybe 10-hour video, which I don't want. So I will keep things at a very high level. We'll build this beautiful website and we'll start doing prediction. Let's start with the installation process. Let's go to my GitHub page and look at the README for installation instructions. This is my GitHub page. The link is in video description below, and the installation instructions for React.js are provided here. You need to install Node.js. Node.js is more like Fast API. It is a backend framework, but it is in JavaScript. So you need to install it on your machine first. Second one you need to install is npm. Npm is more like pip. You can install any JavaScript module by saying npm install. So install npm as well on your computer. Then you need to clone this repository locally on your machine. So I have already, you see, I have cloned this repository, and you see front end directory. This is where we are going to save our website code. So you just do Control C and Control V that into your directory. We are working on potato disease directory. I already did Control V, so that's why I have front end directory present here. Now we will install all necessary modules. So I will go to potato disease front end directory, and here please run this command npm install -- from log JSON. Now this is going to install all the dependencies using the package.json file. Let's launch Visual Studio Code here. I prefer using Visual Studio Code for web programming from React, for React programming and so on. So I have opened Visual Studio Code, where I went to open folder and I open this entire folder here. And here I have this front end directory where I have two files, package.json and package.log.json. Now these files are similar to requirement.txt in Python, which list all your dependency. So when you do npm install, it will look into this file and it will figure out all the things that it needs to install. Let's say it needs to install Axios, React DOM, whatever. Every dependency that is needed, it will install that. And the difference between package and package log file is that package log file has more details on what dependency it is going to install and what are the exact git commits that it will pull. So when you install when you do npm install from log.json, it will use package.json. If you don't provide this flag, then it will use package.json. When it uses package.json, it might pull latest versions of these dependencies or git commit IDs, whereas in package log.json, it will exactly fetch the given git commit. So your behavior is more predictable. That's why I like to use npm install -- from log.json. It will take some time to install everything, and I have already installed this, and you can see this node modules directory. So in this directory, it has pulled all the dependencies, all JavaScript modules that we need for our project. You need to run after that npm audit fix to fix some vulnerabilities. You can read online about npm audit fix. I don't want to go into detail, but these are the commands that you need to run. I have clearly outlined them on my GitHub page. So we run npm install, then npm audit fix. Now rename .environment.example as .env. So I have already done that. Just copy paste that file and create, see, so this is the file you get, but I copied it as .env, where I have specified the URL of my fast API server. Remember, we are running our fast API server on localhost port number 8000. If you are running on a different port, please change the port number here. Now that things are installed fine, I will quickly run my project. We'll go and look into code little later, but let me first run it and kind of show you how it works. So for running it, you can run npm run start, and that will launch our website on port 3000. See, localhost port 3000 is where it is running. Look at the beautiful website. Look at this garden farmer's picture and the picture of the farm. Here you can drag and drop the potato plant image, and it will do the prediction for you. So now let's go back to our code and let's check what's going on in the code. Okay, now I have already mentioned that this is not a web tutorial. This is not a tutorial on React.js. If I have to explain React.js in detail, it will take probably 10 hours. So I'll just go over the overall architecture. So here in the front end, there is a source directory which has file called app.js. Now app.js is the main file, and it is using something called a functional component in React. So this is a functional component, and this is the main kind of function or main entry point where it is returning this image upload file. I want you to go to YouTube, search for React functional component. You will find this video. Watch it so you get an idea on what is functional component. You need to follow some React basic tutorials just to get an understanding on how things work. Okay, so here it is returning the HTML for your main website, and that HTML has this main element called image upload, which we are importing from /home. Now what is this? So wherever you see this thing, you can read it like this. We generally omit .js extension, but it is actually importing something from home.js, and I have home.js here, and it is importing image upload. So let me search image upload. Okay, what is this really? This is a specific JavaScript syntax where it is returning this function. Okay, and this function is actually returning that HTML fragment. See this fragment. So what will eventually happen is this whole fragment will get placed here, and it will form your whole HTML for your entire website. And you can see elements like the title. See, code basics potato disease classification. This title is something you see here, and drag and drop this image, or this control rather, is drop zone area. So that's the ready-made control that we are using. And this control, if you look into our file, we are importing it from a module, node module called this. So if you search for, let's say this, you'll find information on this component. So it's a ready-made component which for dragging and dropping file that we are importing in our project. That's the best thing about React, Python, all these open source frameworks, that you can import these ready-made libraries, ready-made components, and you're just doing really a work of a plumber. You're assembling different components and creating a beautiful pipeline. Okay, now when you drag and drop image on that control, what happens? So we have the website running. If I drag and drop the image here, what's going to happen? So let's see. So here in this particular element, you see on change. So whenever I'm dropping a file, it is calling on select file method. So when I say on select file, it will of course check if the file is there or not. If it is not there, you do some work here. But let's say file is there and file 0, basically if you're dropping multiple files, file 0 will be your first file. It will call set selected file method. Now set selected file method is defined here, and there is a variable called selected file, and there is this thing called use state. Now use state is a hook. It's a React hook for which I will say use state. Okay, in YouTube, watch this 15 minutes video. You will get a very good understanding of what this hook is about, or in general read about use state and use effect hooks in React. Again, I'm not going into the details because our tutorial becomes too long. So that's why I pause my video, get some information on use state, use effect, and then you come back. But see, as a data scientist, you don't need to know web frameworks too much into detail. If you have overview, that's good enough. So it's up to you if you want to go too much into detail. But I will give you an overview, which is selected file is a variable, and set selected file is a function that sets this variable. Okay, it's like a setter function for this variable. So whenever you drag and drop an image on our website, it will call this method, and this method will set a variable called selected file. So eventually selected file variable has the content of the file. Okay, and then comes use effect method. So in the use effect, once you drag and drop the file, it will call this use effect method, and it will call this function called send file. Now send file is using Axios library to make an HTTP call to our backend. So we are doing an post call using the URL, this URL. Okay, what was this URL? Well, this was URL was what we used in our Postman. Remember, we were using this in Postman. So if I look at my Postman, we are using localhost colon 8000 predict. See, that's exactly what we have. Localhost colon 8000 predict. And in the data, what are we supplying? Where we are creating a form data variable, and we are saying, okay, file key has this selected file as an data value. And that's exactly what we did in our Postman. In our Postman, we use form data. We had a key as a file and the content of the file here in the value. And that's exactly what we are doing in this React code. See, form data, and this is the file. And then it will make a call to our Fast API backend. And here is the place where we will get our response. So let's quickly test these things out. And before we test this, I need to run my backend server. So I'll go to backend server. I will not bother about running main TF serving. You can run it, up to you, but I'm just running my main.py file, and it says my server is ready on this machine. I always try to test things out first in Postman, and then I use React for testing things. So I will make a call here and see, our server is ready on 8000 port. Yes, it is ready. We are getting response fine. Now I will run my UI. So my UI is already running. So my UI is running here, and I will do F12. So when you do F12 in browser, it shows the debug pane, which has things like console, sources, different controls. So here, let me first show you my backend. So my backend, where is, yes, it is here. And I will monitor my backend here. So my backend is running, you see. Okay, so I'm here and I will make a call now. So I will drag and drop file here. So this is the directory, and I will set a breakpoint just to make sure things are working okay. So here in the JS, I will go to potato disease, front end source in home.js. Let me first put a breakpoint in home.js. So I will come to home.js, and you can, by clicking here, you can put a breakpoint. So I have breakpoint before the call and after the call. And let me drag and drop. So when I drag and drop, see, the control comes here. You can do this to go to next, next, etc., etc. But here in the form data, you can see that in the form data, I have a file. I will have the file as an attribute. Okay, somewhere you will see the file. I don't want to go into detail that much, but you can observe all the variables and things like that. And when you do this resume, what you will notice is you will receive a call in our backend. So this is my backend, and I'm just showing everything here because that way, see here, you see one post call and you don't see anything here, right? And when I do this, see, I see the call, which means my backend returned the response fine. Okay, now what's happening here is, see, I'm not getting control here. It is just spinning. So maybe there is some error happening. So when I go to console, I see this error called course. So course policy is not set. You need to know about course if you're doing web programming. So here, just search for what is cross origin resource. This is resource sharing, watch this video, 100 seconds, you get an idea. Basically the error is happening because we are running our server on 3000, our backend is running on 8000, and it is called a cross origin request. So we need to change our backend and add some code related to course. Okay, so I will just stop my backend here, and we need to add this code actually. So you need to say that, hey, fast API, add middleware and allow these origins. What are these origins? Well, allow requests coming from localhost colon 3000. That's where our React.js UI is running. Now, when you run this again, let's try this out. Whenever this is ready, we'll make another request from our UI. See, this is ready here. And let's go back here. Once again, I'll just refresh this and then drag and drop this image. See, I'm here in the request. Go here. It will take some time. See, wonderful. I got my response back. And when you look at this response in the data, you see class is healthy and confidence is 0.999. So if you run it, you see this thing being displayed fine. Amazing, this is working okay, hooray. So just clear it, try out few other images. See, it's so fast. Late blight 100%. Okay, late blight, it was a late blight. I'm using just the training images because I'm just feeling lazy to download new images from internet, but try different images. This model is quite accurate. It will tell you the accurate prediction. So by doing this website, we created a test pad and we created some React.js UI, which can allow us to help to test our model basically. That's all I had for this video, friends. In the future video, we will cover deployment to GCP and building a mobile application in React Native. I hope you're liking this series so far. If you are, please give it a thumbs up. That's my fees for this session, and share it with your friends who are looking for their final year deep learning machine learning project, or who wants to just in general build something useful for farmers. This is a real project where we are covering all the real life aspects. So I'm hoping you're liking it. I will see you in the next video.